Hello everybody, this is the Undercover Witch, and today we are starting a new series. I'm so excited. I've built this up for a little bit, at least to myself. I can't remember if I know I uploaded the announcement. I can't remember if I've mentioned this before. So, if you haven't heard the announcement, what this series is going to be about is spirituality in media. So basically, we're going to take a source of media, whether it's a TV show, a movie, a video game, and we're going to unpack the spiritual lessons that you can learn or the messages that you can get from them. I think this is important because media is all around us all the time, and a lot of times we think, I can't be receiving messages if I'm not working with my tarot, or if I'm not meditating, or if I'm not working in some kind of divination. But in reality, the signs and signals are everywhere. I described to a friend that it's kind of like we're driving down a road, and when we see angel messages, those are like the road signs. When we see signs, there's things around us that are going on, and that's just a sign of where we're at. We're always traveling, we're always moving. It's not always here to tell us something. It's just where we're at, and we have to uncover and unpack the things so that we understand where we are at spiritually, mentally, physically, all that good stuff. And I'm really hoping this will help a lot with my undercover witches, my witches in the closet that don't have access to buy their own resources, or can't be seen with certain resources, or that are busy, have kids, that have a relationship and things that they just don't have time or the energy. And even if they do have time, they want to do something they enjoy. And so this is going to help me and help you not only focus on the things that are naturally coming up on TV all the time. Maybe you just can't stop watching The Office. Maybe you have been stuck playing Zelda for weeks and weeks and weeks, and that's all you want to play and that's all you want to do. Whatever it is, like, let's unpack it. Let's sit down together and unpack it. What if there's something that you do want to play? You really want to play a video game. You really want to play Super Mario Sunshine, and you're like, but I really need to work on myself. What do I do? Do I have fun, or do I work on my spiritual stuff? Let's do both. And not only that, but I've had a lot of experiences where I've been so stressed out and trying to figure out an answer to something, trying to hear an answer from my guides, and been wanting to, like, I just want to sit down and watch this movie. I just want to sit down and watch this movie. Or even my boyfriend being like, let's just sit down and watch a movie. And I finally give in, and all of a sudden the answer I've been looking for is right there. It's right there. And I'm hoping that you will have those experiences as well, and that it helps you enjoy your life, because in the end, that's all our guides want us to do. That's all their mission really is for, is to help us be carefree, be open, understand that balance isn't enough. We want things in plenty. We want abundance. So I hope this helps you, and I'm going to go ahead and get on with this episode. This first episode, we are covering Evil. It is a TV show. I'm not going to be focusing on one episode. I'm actually going to be talking about the entire series. So I'm going to pull bits and pieces from season 1, from season 2, from the newest episodes to the oldest episodes. So if you haven't seen this show, spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert. Please do not watch this if you plan on, or if you don't like spoilers, okay? If you are watching this show and you like it but you haven't caught up, go to Paramount Plus. That's where I watch it, and it's like the season finale to this next season. It comes out on Sunday. So it's caught up. So go watch it. That's where you can get it. And that subscription, it's like, oh gosh, is it like $5.99 or $4.99? It's not that expensive. It has Nickelodeon. It's got a whole bunch of good stuff to watch. Including Evil. So go watch it. This is not sponsored. I'm just helping y'all out, okay? I will try to tell y'all ahead of time what the episode is about so that y'all can go watch it. Excuse me. At the end of this episode, I will be telling you next week's episode what that will, what show it's going to focus on, because it will be another TV show. This is October, so I'm trying to find things that are scary or Halloween-like. So if you're not really heavy on Halloween or scary movies or anything, or scary shows like that, no worries. Not all of these are too scary. Some of, like, Evil is kind of disturbing, and it's kind of scary sometimes, but it's not always that scary. I'm going to try to do at least one kid-friendly show or movie or game at the end of every month, so that if you do have kids or aren't interested in the more adult shows that I talk about, you have an alternative. So let's get into it. So Evil. Evil is a TV show about a team that is working for the Catholic Church that is trying to decide whether or not certain spiritual activity is actually a cause of the spiritual world, a cause of the mundane world, or has a mental explanation, mental illness. So we have a team of 3 people. We got Christian Bouchard, who is a forensic psychologist, David Acosta, and Ben Shakir. David Acosta is becoming a priest. Ben is described as a blue-collar worker. He does so much. He's literally probably the smartest person in the entire show, and I think he's my favorite. I think I have a crush. I don't know why, but I think I do. Anyway. And then we also have 2 other reoccurring characters that show up in the first episode, which is Dr. Leland Townshend and George. Townshend is also a forensic psychologist. Now, he's out to ruin the other 3's reputation. He wants to take them down. He is also demonically possessed, or at least that's what the audience is led to believe. And then we have George, your friendly demon, who is basically terrorizing Kristen and now Ben, sort of, in their dreams. Ben, I think he originally sees George, and then there's another demon that kind of takes that place that has a different name. I don't even know what her name is. So Ben is being haunted by his own paralysis demon, and Kristen is dealing with George in the first season. He comes and goes, and then he shows up with different people, and it's just really interesting. Then we also have this nun named Sister Andrea. I'm so sorry. I don't know why that was so hard to say. Sister Andrea, who definitely, of course, is part of the Catholic Church and believes in this demonic organization that Townshend is actually a part of, and a lot of the antagonists of the episodes are a part of. Any mission that they go on, there's some kind of tie or connection to this demonic organization. And Kristen, David, and Ben catch on to that. And so they kind of have this side mission in every episode where they are paying very close attention to this organization and the connections that are being made towards it. Now, Kristen and Ben don't necessarily believe that it's a demonic organization, but they kind of get behind the idea that there's people out there, a part of this organization, that are using their beliefs, their quote-unquote beliefs, as an excuse to recruit people and just have a bad agenda, behave badly. So they kind of get on board with not just going with David to disprove or discredit spiritual occurrences. But now they also are trying to uncover more about this organization so that these people can be held accountable for what their actions are. Which is very difficult because as we see throughout the show, that covers many people. That covers many people that are higher up. That covers people that are police officers. There's a lot of different places this organization has penetrated. So we're already seeing where the mentality of people and spirituality are colliding just in the premise of this show. Because we have to uncover, is it mental? Is it physical? What is their cause for these behaviors of this person or these occurrences? And I would just like to provide commentary on that looking from David Acosta's perspective, he may be believing too much of some things and not enough of others, but he definitely does believe that even the mundane world was created by, well, he thinks it was created by God. I just think we were here. Hi, we've been here. And that we were all created as once. The spiritual world and the mundane world were created by the same being, by the same energy, whatever that may be. And so why should we discredit a spiritual occurrence if it involves something of the mundane world? I mean, don't you believe in divine timing? And it gets kind of interesting to see that, because I think Kristen and Ben always get stuck up on proving that there's a physical occurrence, and David being like, but what does that matter if there's still other things that can't be explained? You've explained one thing, but now there's these other things. It's like, maybe that part of it was just a coincidence, sure, but like there's still other stuff going on. Or maybe that part of it was just God's way of making something happen in this person's life, so, or a dynamic thing happen. Either way. And then we see that again with Sister Andrea. So she does not like Townshend, and Townshend eventually penetrates his way into the Catholic Church, trying to discredit Kristen, Ben, and David there. And during that meeting, he meets on Sister Andrea. And Sister Andrea takes no BS, takes none. And she is in the exorcism when Townshend decides that he needs an exorcism. And so he fakes going through the process of getting an exorcism and has David and one of the actual priests that's already doing exorcisms exorcise him. And of course, it's not showing any reaction, because the whole way through Townshend is just pretending like it's bothering him when it's not really. And David Acosta brings in Sister Andrea, who he trusts immensely, because he just believes that she is so in tune, in touch with God. So he just thinks that she should have more of a role within the Catholic Church. And so when Sister Andrea meets with Townshend, she scares him by sprinkling holy water on him. And that burns Townshend. But later we learned that she had put bleach in the bottle. So it was not actually holy water. David didn't know this. David was just astounded, and Townshend, who thought he was protected and untouchable, gets scared until he realizes what it was. And Andrea, even though she fakes the holy water, still believes that this is a spiritual war, that David needs to get his shit together, so that he can figure out how to take down Leland. And David, he sees visions. He has visions, and that's kind of why he's higher up in the church. And he desperately wants to see more visions from God. But unfortunately, he has taken to doing drugs, or I think yes, drugs, to incite or cause these visions to happen. Now, Sister Andrea gives him pointers on how to make that happen without taking illegal substances. And one of those is like having a singing bowl out and using a metronome and just putting him in a meditative state so that he can see clearly. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this towards the visions and the dreams and the hallucinations, quote unquote hallucinations, that these characters are having. And I know this is a bit choppy and this is a bit jumpy, and I apologize. This is my first time doing an episode like this. I will definitely get better as time goes. I already see where I need to fix my routine and delivery a little bit. So please forgive me for that. But let's talk about these visions. David believes that they are from God. Kristen believes her night terrors, are psychological, as well as Ben also believes they're psychological. Let's talk about Kristen for a second. So she has these lucid dreaming, night terrors, where this demon named George appears. And eventually one of her daughters has the exact same dream she has about George. And in that episode, the first episode of season 1, she finds out that her daughter is watching a movie that has a demon-like character that resembles George, and it makes her realize, oh, maybe this is psychological, because I think for a second she was doubting how she saw one thing and her daughter saw the same thing. And Kristen also has a psychiatrist, I believe, who she sees and talks to about things as well. And he kind of gives her the suggestion that it's maybe something that they're watching that is causing them both to see the same thing. So that gives Kristen the courage to learn more about lucid dreaming. And she learns tips and tricks to control her own mind while she's asleep. And her goal in that is basically to kill or overpower George. And actually she does end up, I believe, stabbing him or something of the sort and killing him in her dream. But that doesn't necessarily get rid of him. We just don't see him for a long while until Kristen's psychiatrist attends an exorcism and sees George in the hallway. George, who the psychiatrist didn't believe in, and also hadn't seen before. Of course, he got descriptions from Kristen. So there's a lot going on there, but I just wanted to take note that Kristen uses stuff from the mundane world to help her lucid dream. And so here are some tips and tricks. Of course, if you're having night terrors, I would go check out those episodes in the beginning of season 1, because I feel like it is very important that you know that if you believe in something, that you should also believe in a cure. For example, if you believe in a curse, you should believe in a cure. Fudge. If you believe in a curse, you should believe in a cure. because ultimately your belief is what gives other things power. And this is represented in two ways within the show. One, because Kristen, as soon as she overpowers George and she no longer believes in him, he has no power in her mind. Then the psychiatrist, or not the psychiatrist, what? Is there somebody else? Oh, I'm so sorry. Townshend, Leland Townshend. As soon as he believes that he might need an exorcism, the exorcism actually starts working in one of those episodes. On the other hand, with Kristen, who eventually does get possessed by a demon, spoiler again, I'm so sorry, and another spoiler alert, she also gets exorcised by attending one of Leland's exorcisms and ends up receiving the exorcism herself in the restroom, because she like goes to another room and because she starts feeling pains and stuff, and instead of the exorcism working on Leland, it's secretly working on Kristen, and she ends up being exorcised of her demon, which she believes is a placebo effect. But it makes her wonder, like, wow, does the placebo effect, like, truly work? And she's almost reinvented as a person. So let me explain something. The spiritual laws, alright, quote-unquote spiritual laws, is how it affects people is, like, let's say you do a curse against someone. I don't know. Sierra. I'm gonna pick a name. Sierra. Let's say we do a curse against a person named Sierra, and she just does not believe in spirituality at all. Because we have done something to push it out, it has to affect that person in some way. Now, whether or not they believe that it's what's affecting them is what's affecting them is completely a different story. Their house may be infested with bugs. So many things can go wrong. It could be a string of bad luck. And if they just accept that, then it'll have its effect. But if at some point they acknowledge it and be like, I don't believe in that, or I don't think that this is going to affect me, like this isn't going to affect me anymore, then that has been pushed away. Like, it's been null and void. If they do believe in curses and things like that, and they believe they've been cursed, and they let it ruin their lives, they let it take over their lives, and physically, mentally, spiritually, they start seeing shit, all this stuff starts scaring them, and they don't believe that there's a way to fix it, that is a mental thing. That is a mental attitude. They need to understand that you have a way to overpower it. You have a way to overcome it. You have a way to send it away or send it back. Excuse me. Sorry, they're painting in the apartment next door, and it's like killing me. So there is a way to cure, I'd say, any curse. And it truly is mind over matter, because our minds are connected to our spirituality, just like I was explaining before. The mundane world, the mental world, and the spiritual world are all connected. And if you can overpower one thing in one way, you can do it in the next. Or if your spiritual power is more effective and powerful than somebody's physical power that they're trying to push at you, you will win. So it's just that manifestation ability to believe in yourself and to believe wholeheartedly in what you're doing and in whatever it is that you believe is happening to you. And again, I really think that shows in this TV show. I also have Ben. Now, Ben ends up getting locked in a attic, I believe, in the elevator game. That's season 2, episode 4. And the elevator, is for elevator is the name of the episode. And there's this elevator game where each of the three people, Kristen, David, and Ben, see something. And it results in Ben getting stuck somewhere alone, trapped, and seeing dead bodies. This is also the beginning of where he starts to see his own sleep paralysis demon, and that haunts him for up until like where we're at in the show now. It's still an issue for him. So there's different things here that we can learn, that even though you don't believe in something, that doubt that you have whenever it does occur affects you. And even if you believe in something for a moment, that power you have of saying this isn't going to affect me is useful, is powerful. In season 2, episode 7, S is for silence, something gets unleashed that turns out to be from the mundane world. They get stuck in this monk sanctuary where there is a capsule box thing that they believe is demonic, and if you speak on the premise, like on the in the sanctuary, in a certain radius of it, that it could unleash whatever's in there. And Kristen speaks. Nobody knows that she says a word. No one knows. But she does. And nobody knowing that she spoke on that property, the box, whatever's in the box gets unleashed, and we find out, excuse me, we find out that it's actually these bugs that infest into your skin. So it's something mundane, but who put those in the box and why? And how did it unleash right when she said a word, even though nobody said anything? And how did those things live in that box with no way out, no way in? I mean, nothing like that was affecting anyone before. So it's just a lot of odd things happening at the same time. Is there anything else I want to bring up? But the first time it really makes you question, is this fake? Is this real? Is when Kristen actually starts seeing things. But of course, they were under the influence. And that was season 1, episode 8, where David Acosta actually dances with one of his ancestors, as she's a ghost. And Kristen sees an alien baby being born in a field, which was terrifying. So there's a lot of instances where the lines blur and cross, and you have to wonder, is Leland Townshend just crazy? Is Ben and Kristen just starting to see things in their mind because they're around these spiritual occurrences all the time, and those spiritual occurrences are just messing with their mind because they're not actually spiritual? Is the belief that the people around them have now affecting their brain? Or is Kristen and Ben, who don't believe in this stuff, proof that these spiritual occurrences are real? What about David? David believes wholeheartedly, but he also wonders whether or not the Catholic Church is right for him, and if he should be fighting a spiritual world in the spiritual world, or if he should be fighting the good fight on, racism because he is black, or helping with feminism, helping with Black Lives Matter marches and things like that. He wants to make a difference, and sometimes he feels like the Catholic Church isn't the best place for him, but then he realizes he wants to fight that spiritual fight, and there's nowhere else that can give him that support. So there's a whole bunch of questions in here, for sure, about the lines of spirituality, the lines of the mundane world. Where does it cross over? What helps more? What do I have power in fighting more? Can I help people fight their mental demons? Can I help people fight their spiritual demons? Can I help people fight their physical fights? And so if you're interested in questioning that or learning more about that or anything like that, I would go check out this show so that it, pries on your brain a bit. I mean, your brain works through mysteries and questions even when you're not thinking about stuff. So go ahead and go watch the show if you're struggling with something like that, or if you are watching that show and you're wondering why. Maybe it's time for you to question what you're allowing to affect you or what you're not allowing to affect you. You can't think that everything is boring and bland and something's only spiritual when something big happens. Spirituality, like I said, we're on this highway and a bunny crossing the road is a bunny crossing the road. You can't deny that. The last thing that I want to leave off with is a song. And the song that I've chosen for this episode is Not All Who Wander Are Lost by Lana Del Rey. And I just feel like this is saying, don't feel ashamed when an action is done serving its purpose. If you go out and do something, for example, I recently had 2 Facebook accounts, and one of them I had for a moment just because I wanted a break from, I'm very vocal and I'm very kind of the troublemaker and the black sheep of my family and other places. So I just needed a moment to myself with people that I just really cared about. And so I moved them all onto another account, and they were all very supportive and happy about that for me. And then I moved them back because I was like, okay, now I'm ready to integrate my life again. I'm ready to put it all back together. And someone, I'm not going to name names, was offended by that. Because it was like, why'd you move them all to begin with? Why would you do this? Like, you didn't care about the extra support that we gave you, even though they didn't actually do anything. They just were on my other Facebook. And then I moved him back, and I had to think, like, was I being ridiculous? Was I being too harmfully spontaneous? Was I being too scattered or reactive or unstable with moving things around and moving things back and forth? And the answer is no, because I had a reason for doing it. I had a purpose for doing it, and it served its purpose, and now it's time to change. I can't control the timing of which that happens. So whenever you have an action, and I just want to use that as an example, that was a bit ago, but whenever you have an action that you're taking and it's done serving its purpose, you can celebrate that. You can be like, yay, thank you, this was so much help, this worked so well for me. If you feel like writing every day, and you feel like writing a book, and you start writing a book, and you start writing and writing and writing and writing, but you never plan on publishing it, or you never plan on doing something, or you wanted to make a Photoshop picture, go do photography, but you never do anything with that, it's just your hobby, then congratulations, you have a hobby. It served its purpose. Its purpose was to make you feel better. Like, don't feel bad when action serves its purpose. If you worked a job for a little bit, but to make ends meet for a while, and you ended up staying afloat, but you didn't get anywhere moving forward, and you feel like, man, why did I do that? Because it served its purpose. It wasn't so that you can move up. It was so you could keep yourself afloat. So next time next time you decide on something or move to a different job, you can be like, this is the purpose I want this job to serve, and it'll serve its purpose. Learn how to use it for you, not against you. And then the myth of today is that you can't be a Catholic witch. Witches are Wiccan. The truth is being a Wiccan is different than being a witch. You can be a witch and a Wiccan. Of course, there's a lot of things that are involved in that, but a witchcraft and being a witch is part of the practices and the activities that you engage in. So just know that anybody can be a witch. There's witches on a whole bunch of different religions that you would think don't have witches, but there are. There's a whole bunch sorts of divinations that are made within those sub-religions that you wouldn't think would be made there. And also, this serves as a, if you're in a religion and you think that you're not a witch, or you think that you don't practice witchcraft, you're wrong. So thank you all for watching this. Oh my god, it took me so long to put together. And next week's episode is going to be on The Haunting of Hill House, so go check that show out, go watch it. It's pretty scary. This one is, I think this one is good for like a mundane watcher that's just, you know. But The Haunting of Hill House is definitely horror based. So if you are afraid of that kind of thing, you can watch next week's episode just to get the gist and the lesson that we're covering. But you don't have to watch it. If you do want to watch it, that's on Netflix. It's a Netflix original. And I think Netflix is like $14 now, $14.99, something crazy like that. So yeah. Thanks for watching and listening. I'm going to be probably uploading the video in 2 separate videos. So you're going to have a part 1 and a part 2 because I can't upload more than 15 minutes at the moment. And this so far is 35 minutes. Oh, wait. So it'll probably be 3 parts. All right. Thank you so much for watching. And I love y'all guys. Just know that. I hope you have a fantastic day.